Hi, we are moving on to Etude 1 Part 3 today. Be sure that when you're practicing these etudes, be sure that you're not getting stuck on one etude. Be sure that you're really looking through all the different etudes and the parts. I would continue to practice this in parts for actually quite a while. Don't feel like you need to be doing full run-throughs right now. You really need to concentrate on the measures that are still giving you lots of trouble. Practice those individually and then try and put them with bigger sections, like even an 8-measure or 4-measure section. Sometimes 2-measure sections is enough. So be sure that you're not getting stuck on the parts that you know, and those are more fun to play because we know them. And be sure that you're really getting those alternate fingerings learned, the high fingerings learned, and moving on through these etudes. So we're going to cover part 3 of Etude 1 today, and this is the last section. I'm hopefully going to show you how to make this chromatic section a little bit easier at 19 and 20. And then you don't really have a lot of alternate fingerings here or even high notes. So we'll turn this around and get started. So here we are in Etude 1 Part 3. I also have the first part of Etude 1 pulled up because there are some similarities here from the beginning, but a little bit, but not much. So measure 17 is exactly like the first measure of our etude. Okay, if I look at measure 1 over here, you can see that those are exactly the same. Okay. As we go through 18, be sure and play your D sharps. B, D sharp, E, G sharp, B, G sharp, E, B, G sharp, E, B, G sharp, E. Those are actually all the same notes, just in an arpeggio style. So be sure you don't miss your D sharps or your G sharps. G sharp, G sharp, G sharp. Okay, E, C, B natural, E. Next line. All right, so if we look at 19 and 20, this C remains constant through the whole thing. We keep going back to C. So we don't really need to think about that because we're just going to keep going back to C. Okay, and then the bottom starts on a D sharp and goes up chromatically. So D sharp, E, E sharp is fingered like F, and F sharp. That's why they can't write F, because there's an F sharp. So chromatically though, D sharp, E, E sharp, which is fingered like F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. So that's just chromatic from D sharp to A here. And then back down, G sharp, G, F sharp, F, E, D sharp. So these bottom notes are just a chromatic section up and a chromatic down to the same note. And when you play this section, you want to be sure just to have the crescendo go through these bottom notes and not the top notes. So you don't want to keep popping that C really loud. You just want to concentrate on the bottom notes here, and I'll show you that. And then we finish it out with F sharp, A, D sharp again. Okay, 21 is the same thing twice, just in 2 different octaves. So E, G sharp, B, 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 again with octave keys on, back octave, side and back octave. E, G sharp, B, 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 B. Then you have your high C sharp again. I gave you the fingering here again, although I think by now you should have that committed to memory. And then back and forth from G sharp to A, G sharp A, G sharp A, then D sharp E, D sharp E, B sharp, which is fingered like a C, B sharp, C sharp, B sharp, C sharp. And then they finally natural those sharps here, right here. So B sharp is fingered like C, B sharp, C sharp, B sharp, C sharp, A, B, C, B. Then in the last 2 measures, you don't have any accidentals. It's all key signatures, but there's a lot of sharps here. So B, B, G sharp, E, Again, an octave lower. B, G sharp, E, D sharp, B, F sharp, D sharp, B, A, F sharp, E, E, G sharp, B, E, G sharp, B, low B, E. And that's the end of your etude. Looking at some examples now, 17 is like measure 1. It's just like the very first measure of our etude. Okay, then we're going to play a little bit of arpeggiated stuff in 18. So don't forget your G sharps and your D sharps. Here's 18. Okay, then as we get into 19, we can see this chromatic section, D sharp up to A and back to D sharp. So if you just look at the bottom notes here, you have our chromatic up, chromatic down. So D sharp, E, E sharp, F sharp, G, G sharp, A, G sharp, G, F sharp, F, E, D sharp. Okay, so I'm just going to play those bottom notes. Okay, and then we're going to add a C between them. Okay, and really concentrate on the bottom notes for your crescendo. Otherwise, we really hear those C's really strongly. And we want to just let the bottom note crescendo. So don't think about crescendo in the C. So kind of pop those bottom notes and let the C be a softer note. Okay, then we get to 21 and we have E, G sharp, B in 2 octaves. Then the downbeat of 22 is that inside-outside fingering for high C sharp, 2 and 3, 1 and 4. Okay. And then you have G sharp A twice, D sharp E twice, B sharp C sharp twice. And remember, B sharp is fingered like C. So here's measure 22. Okay, then 23 and 24, you just have to follow key signature, add your sharps in where you're supposed to, especially D sharp and G sharp. And it will be okay to take the last 2 notes just a little bit out of tempo to have kind of an I'm done feeling. 1 ta te ta 2 ta te, I'm done. So that B, you have just a little bit of time to prepare for that and to get your pinky where it goes. And remember, the low B key is this middle pinky. So of the 3 on this side, it's the middle one. Okay, and then low B flat is here. So B. Okay, so one more time on that. Okay. This is quarter note equals 60. 1, 2, ready? this is quarter note equals 70. 1, 2, ready,